has to do with health. Maryland is said to be the wealthiest state per capita in the nation, but ranked 42nd worst in infant deaths in 2007 and 2008, ranked by the Kids Count survey. What more can the state do to lower this ranking? Would one of you like to answer that first? Go.
Improve the ranking,
when
probably.
Improve the ranking, not lower it.
Yeah. The ranking.
Oh.
You're right.
Okay.
42nd, it should come up.
Well, I'll start. I used to serve on the Montgomery County Health Planning Board, and that was one of the health of newborns was one of the problems that we saw back 30 years ago. And I think that and particularly in Baltimore City, that's where a lot of these problems, these concerns are, and in some of the very rural areas. And I hope that with the new health plan, federal health plan, that some of that will be helpful. But I think also nutrition, better nutrition, and we've talked about that in the legislature and tried to get courses in high schools about nutrition and helping. But I see, more teenagers are having kids these days, and that's not a good thing. And so I think that education for people who are going to be getting pregnant or who are pregnant is part of the answer for this. And also we need to figure out ways that we can feed the hungry. And that includes mothers who are expecting.
Thank you. Cheryl?
Some of these I know are going to be hard questions to answer in 1 minute. So I'm just going to focus on one issue, which is lead paint poisoning. A life is ruined when a child is afflicted with lead paint poisoning. And Jenny alluded to Baltimore City. There was a bill that would require landlords to do a simple test. That's, a lot of great things about technology, including a lot better screening tests. It was going to cost about $150. Jenny voted for it in committee. It came to the floor for final approval in the whole Senate, and Jenny voted against it. It came back on a procedural vote. Jenny voted for it. And then final passage again, and Jenny voted against it. Now, I don't know why the flipping and the flopping, but I do know that it costs about $725,000 for every child that has lead paint poisoning. It's also about health costs that are going to last their whole life, a lack of career opportunities, harder to educate, and many other issues. It's a fair and valid concern. I think that we should all be wondering why.
Some issues like taxes and education get a lot of press and attention. Talk about an issue that you will work on that is personally important to you that will get very little press and attention. Great question.
It is a great question. Yeah, thank you. Do you want to go first again? You want me to go first?
Go ahead.
Okay. I'll tell you a real passion of mine, which is working with the nonprofit sector. I have worked on all sides of the table in the nonprofit sector. I've been a staff person, an executive director, a board member, a donor, a funder when I ran a nonprofit organization, and a member. I mean, across the board. And the nonprofit sector is about 10% of our economy. It's also the only sector of our economy that has an increase in the number of jobs. Nonprofits can be small ones that serve our communities, Friends of the Library, or Viz Arts. It can be large ones like Montgomery College or Shady Grove Hospital. They need an advocate in Annapolis, someone who really understands and can help be a liaison with state government, who can make sure that oversight is appropriate without being onerous, that the forms that they need to fill out for state grant money are not too complex, and that state workers are available to help make sure that they spend their time not filling out forms, but serving the people.
Thank you. Jenny?
I think from some of the experience that I've seen with education, especially higher education, we see so many kids who cannot afford to go on to higher education. And Montgomery College is a perfect, wonderful place, a wonderful school, and a bargain at that. But I think that related to the taxes, I think that more people should be aware of the opportunities at Montgomery College for people to contribute money to scholarship funds that they have available there, and therefore they would get a tax credit, or maybe we could have some additional tax credits after this economy gets better. But I think that if more people contributed to places like Montgomery College and designate it for someone who would not be able to get an education otherwise, I think that is one of the angles that we could look at related to this.
Said early this month that state revenues for FY 2010 will have an additional $300 million. Should some of that be given to state employees to compensate them for the forced unpaid furloughs and salary reductions? A very pointed question. So should some of that $300 million go to the state employees? Jenny's ready.
We've had situations like this in Annapolis every few years.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Rockville Library is now closed. Please come join the line if you want to check out materials. We welcome you back tomorrow. We'll open at 10 o'clock. The Rockville Library is now closed.
We'll start.
Start again.
We've had situations like this before, and I remember, I don't know how many years ago, but Senator Barbara Hoffman from Baltimore was running for re-election, and she wanted to cut the sales tax. And she did, and she was able to do it. And if we had left it like it was, saving that money, we would not have had the next downfall for the whole state. And I think we ought to save that money and put it in a piggy bank and in the state budget and make it for priority needs. I know the state employees really have taken a hit. It's awful. And they're having to take furloughs as well. And I think that we should all appreciate the fact that state employees who work here in Montgomery County Courthouse I don't know what percentage it is, but it's significantly less money than the counterparts that they work with who are paid by the county.
Okay. Carol?
Sure. Jenny and I agree on this. I think we've got to take a wait-and-see attitude on this one. If we're looking at $1.5 to $2 billion shortfall, I think we'll be really short-sighted to be excited about $300 million that might be in our pocketbook right now and spend it when we are definitely going to have needs. Revenues are down, demands are up. The problem with a down economy is that when there's less money coming into the coffers, into the state coffers, is when more and more people need social services and others. It's affecting not just the state government, but then obviously it trickles down, has an impact on the county government and our municipalities. I think it would be irresponsible to spend that money when we don't even know what's around the corner, but we know it's going to be not good now and probably in the future for a little bit longer.
To say a little bit more. For decades, Montgomery County has experienced the same frustration in the Maryland legislature. We are treated like the daddy warbucks of the rest of the state. We don't get our fair share of resources and support, especially given how much tax revenue we pour into the state coffers. What concrete steps would you take to improve this situation in the next 4 years? I don't see people jumping up on this one. All right.
I took that first one last time.
Okay, that's fine. I'm happy to. I'm trying to be. Montgomery County has the largest delegation in the state. We have 8 state senators out of 47. That's a lot. We can be heard if we speak out, if we are united, if we are organized, and we are working in conjunction with other levels of government. We're not just there in a silo, just representing our own districts. We've got to make sure that we build coalitions, that we reach out, and that we teach people about Montgomery County's needs. When I was a member of the House, one of the things I did, I substitute taught largely at Gaithersburg Middle School, which was a very diverse and challenged school. I invited a bunch of my students to come down and visit and brought them around with me one day and introduced them to my colleagues. They could not believe that students who look like Montgomery County students, we know what Montgomery County students look like, they couldn't believe that that didn't fit their image of rich white folks from Montgomery County with, with all the parents having graduate degrees. We need to teach them that Montgomery County has needs. We are ethnically, linguistically, economically, religiously, and all other ways diverse. We need to make sure that we reach out, and that's part of how we'll be able to tell our story and win more support.
Thank you very much. All right, Jenny?
We're beginning to tell our story, and this last session we did an awful lot better. As a matter of fact, when the people from some of the poorer jurisdictions saw how much money we got, they were appalled and thought something was wrong. The formulas had been set based on wealth. And now, if you look at the population of students in the Montgomery County school system, you will see that those numbers of very poor kids who are on free and reduced price lunches are getting, there are a lot more of them, and therefore the formulas have given us a lot more money this year. And I was sitting in on I was in the Senate, I'm in the Senate leadership, and we were having a meeting with the members of the leadership, and they were asking, well, why is Montgomery County getting so much more money this year? And that was the answer, and I was pleased to share that information with them.